Welcome back, everyone. Today, we're diving into the eerie and fascinating world of abandoned Olympic sites. These places once hosted the world's greatest athletes, but now stand as ghostly reminders of past glory. It's wild, right? You think Olympics, you think massive crowds, insane energy, history being made, but what happens when the party's over? When the athletes go home, and the world's attention shifts? That's what we're exploring. We're not just looking at crumbling concrete and overgrown weeds. We're looking at the stories these places tell, the echoes of cheers that have long since faded. The sheer scale of these Olympic projects is mind-boggling. Billions of dollars, years of construction, all for a few weeks of competition, and then silence. It makes you think about legacy, about planning, about what we value. So, grab your metaphorical hard hat, because we're about to go on a journey to some of the most hauntingly beautiful and forgotten corners of the Olympic dream. This isn't just about showing you cool, decaying buildings, though there will be plenty of that. It's about understanding the impact these events have, long after the final medal is awarded. We'll look at the economic aftermath, the social changes, and sometimes the tragic turns these venues have taken. It's a complex picture, full of triumph and neglect, hope and desolation. So, buckle up. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, because this is going to be a trip. Let's get into it. Alright, first up we're heading to Sarajevo, Bosnia and Herzegovina, 1984, Winter Olympics. The Cold War is still a thing, but here in this city, the world came together. They built these incredible facilities, the bobsled track, the ski jumps, the Olympic Village. You can almost hear the roar of the crowds, the swish of skis, the clatter of skates. But man, things took a turn, a brutal, devastating turn. Just a few years after the Olympic flame was extinguished, the Bosnian War ripped through the region, and Sarajevo found itself under siege. The longest siege in modern warfare, can you believe that? And those Olympic venues, those symbols of international cooperation and athletic prowess, they became something else entirely. They became battlegrounds. They became strategic positions, sniper nests, places of unimaginable suffering. Imagine the bobsled track, where athletes once hurtled down at breakneck speeds, chasing gold medals. During the war, it was reportedly used as an artillery position. The smooth, curving concrete that was designed for speed and precision became a vantage point for destruction. You can still see the bullet holes, the shrapnel scars pockmarking the surface. It's not just decay from neglect, it's the physical evidence of conflict, etched into the very fabric of these Olympic dreams. And the ski jumps at Mount Igman? Those majestic structures that launched athletes into the sky? They stood there, silent witnesses to the fighting raging around them. Some reports say they were used as defensive positions. The podium, where medalists once stood, teary-eyed and proud, became a different kind of stage, one for a grim, brutal reality. The juxtaposition is just staggering. The vibrant colors of the Olympic rings, now faded and peeling, set against a backdrop of war-torn landscapes. Think about the Olympic Village, the hotels built to house athletes and officials. Many of these buildings suffered immense damage or were repurposed for wartime needs. What was once a place of camaraderie and international fellowship became shelters, or worse, targets. The dreams of 1984 were literally shelled, burned, and scarred by the realities of the 1990s. Today, if you visit these sites, and people do, it's an incredibly somber experience. Nature is slowly reclaiming them, as it always does. Trees grow through the bobsled track, moss covers the concrete, and an eerie silence hangs in the air. But it's a silence that speaks volumes. You can't help but feel the weight of history, the ghosts of both the Olympic athletes and the victims of the war. It's a place of profound reflection, a testament to human resilience but also to human conflict. Some efforts have been made to preserve or even repurpose parts of these sites, but the scale of the damage and the economic realities make it a monumental task. For many, they remain as they are, haunting memorials. The graffiti that now covers many of the surfaces isn't just random vandalism. Some of it is art, some of it is political commentary, some of it is just people trying to leave their mark, to say we were here, we remember. Next up, we're jetting over to Athens, Greece. The birthplace of the Olympics, right? Hosting the 2004 Summer Games was a homecoming. They spent billions building state-of-the-art venues. And they did. The games were a success, a moment of national pride. But what happened after the closing ceremony? many venues started to look, well, not so shiny. Greece was hit hard by the financial crisis. Maintaining these massive facilities became a luxury. The money just wasn't there. Without a solid post-games plan, they fell into disrepair. It's a classic story, but particularly poignant in Athens. You've got places like the Hellinikon Olympic Complex. Now, it's a sprawling wasteland of neglect. The sheer scale of the abandonment is striking. These were meant to be lasting legacies, but without use, even the grandest designs crumble. The Olympic Village tells a similar story. Built to house thousands of athletes, it was intended to be converted into public housing. While some of that happened, many parts suffered from neglect. You build these world-class facilities for a 2-week event, and then what? How do you integrate them into the fabric of a city, especially when economic hardship hits? Alright, let's shift continents and head to Beijing, China for the 2008 Summer Olympics. Man, those games were a spectacle. China went all out, showcasing its rising power and ambition. The opening ceremony alone was mind-blowing. And the venues? Architectural marvels, the Bird's Nest Stadium, the Water Cube. These weren't just sports facilities, they were iconic statements. But what's become of these incredible structures a decade and a half later? The Bird's Nest, officially the National Stadium, is probably the most famous. Its intricate steel lattice design is instantly recognizable. It hosted the opening and closing ceremonies, track and field, the football final. It was the heart of the games. And today? Well, it's still there and it's still impressive, but its primary function has shifted. It's become less of a functional sports stadium and more of a massive tourist attraction. People flock to see it, to take pictures, to marvel at its design, and that's cool in a way. It's better than it falling into complete disrepair, but it's rarely used for major sporting events. The cost of maintaining such a colossal and complex structure is enormous. And finding regular athletic events that can fill its 80,000 plus seats and justify the operating costs is a challenge. So it hosts occasional concerts, cultural events, and even winter theme parks in the off-season, but its life as a premier athletic venue is pretty limited. Then there's the Water Cube, the National Aquatic Center. Another stunning piece of architecture, famous for its bubble-like facade. Michael Phelps made history there, winning 8 gold medals. After the games, part of it was cleverly converted into an indoor water park, which is a smart move and draws a lot of visitors. But again, its use for elite international swimming competitions is infrequent. It's found a second life, but perhaps not the one originally envisioned for a cutting-edge Olympic pool. The story of Beijing's 2008 venues is different from Sarajevo's war-torn ruins or Athens' debt-fueled decay. Now let's fly down to Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, the 2016 Summer Olympics. Man, the lead-up to these games was fraught with controversy. Zika virus, political instability, security concerns, budget issues. But they pulled it off. The games happened, and there were moments of incredible beauty and athleticism, set against that stunning Rio backdrop. But what about afterwards? The decline of some of these Rio venues has been shockingly rapid. Just months after the games ended, reports started emerging of facilities falling into disrepair. The Olympic Park in Barra da Tijuca, the main cluster of venues, became a symbol of this rapid decay. The Olympic Aquatic Stadium, a temporary structure, was supposed to be dismantled and repurposed into 2 smaller community pools. That plan stalled, and for a long time it just sat there, a decaying shell, its pools drained and murky. The Maracana Stadium, legendary in football history, and host of the opening and closing ceremonies, also faced issues. Disputes over management and unpaid bills led to the power being cut off, the pitch deteriorating, and vandalism. Think about that, the Maracana. It's like a cathedral of sport, and it was being neglected. It highlights the complex financial and administrative challenges that can plague these venues post-Olympics. Then there's the Olympic golf course. Built in a protected environmental area, its construction was super controversial. After the games, it struggled to attract enough players to be financially viable. There were efforts to keep it going, but it faced an uphill battle, with high maintenance costs and questions about its long-term sustainability. Nature, ironically, seemed keen to reclaim the land it was built on, and the Olympic Village, which housed over 10,000 athletes. It was intended to be sold off as luxury apartments. But sales were slow, and reports surfaced of units sitting empty, some even being looted or vandalized. The promise of a vibrant new residential area didn't quite materialize as planned, at least not immediately. Finally, let's head to Sochi, Russia, host of the 2014 Winter Olympics. These were the most expensive Olympic Games ever, costing over $50 billion. Russia transformed Sochi and the Caucasus Mountains into a winter sports paradise. They built gleaming stadiums, ski resorts, new roads, and railways. It was an incredible feat of engineering and construction. The games themselves were visually stunning. The coastal cluster in Adler and the mountain cluster in Krasnaya Polyana were impressive. It was all brand new, all world-class. But what happens when the circus leaves town? Sochi wasn't a major winter sports hub. Sochi's Olympic legacy is complex and strange. Many venues struggle to find consistent use. Some host occasional events but are often empty. The Fisht Stadium was repurposed for the 2018 FIFA World Cup. Krasnaya Polyana was massively developed. It has become a popular ski destination for Russians, but it feels like a ghost town outside peak season. The scale of development outstripped demand. All those facilities were built for a temporary influx. There are environmental concerns. Construction in the Caucasus Mountains was controversial. The rush to build had an impact. Now, with underutilized areas, was the environmental cost justified? The Sankey Sliding Center is expensive to maintain. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more fascinating content. See you next time. Wow, what a journey, right? From the war-scarred slopes of Sarajevo to the sun-baked ruins of Athens, the underused marvels of Beijing, Rio's rapid decay, and Sochi's expensive silence. Each of these sites tells a unique story, but they all share a common thread: the immense challenge of what comes the Olympic flame goes out. It's a complex issue with no easy answers. These aren't just forgotten buildings, they're symbols of dreams, ambitions, national pride, and sometimes miscalculations and unforeseen circumstances. They make us think about the true cost of hosting the world's biggest party. Is it worth it? Who benefits and who pays the price when the crowds go home? I don't have all the answers, but exploring these places, even virtually, definitely sparks a lot of questions. It makes you appreciate the incredible effort that goes into the games, but also ponder the responsibility that comes with it. Let me know in the comments which of these sites you found the most striking, or if there are other abandoned places you think we should explore. Your feedback is awesome, and it helps me figure out what kind of stories you guys want to see. This channel is all about curiosity and diving deep into interesting topics, so keep those suggestions coming. Until then, stay curious, keep exploring, and I'll catch you in the next